I want to teach you some phrasal verbs that you need to know if you get sick. That's coming up. Hey everyone, my name is Wes. This is Interactive English, which is all about helping you practice and improve your English skills. And today, I have a very important lesson for you because I think just about all of us, we like to travel. And if you are traveling in another country, there's a pretty good chance you may be speaking English. And if you get sick and you go to the doctor, then you will need to explain to them in English what is happening. So I want to teach you some common phrasal verbs that you can use if you are talking to a doctor, a friend, a family member, and you're trying to explain to them how you feel if you're sick or maybe you think that you're getting sick. So the first phrasal verb that I have for you is a 3-word phrasal verb, and it is come down with. And you'd say that you are coming down with something. And this means that you are starting to become ill, usually with a particular disease that is not too serious. So overwhelmingly, I think you would use this phrasal verb when perhaps talking about a cold. And you'd say that, I think I'm starting to come down with a cold. Or maybe you feel really sick and you go to the doctor and you say, I think I came down with the flu. Or maybe you just don't know why you are sick or you don't know what you have. And you could say, well, I'm coming down with something. I don't know what it is, but I'm going to go to the doctor and I'm going to tell them, look, I think I'm coming down with something. I need your help. So to come down with means that you are starting to get ill. And again, it's usually something that is not too serious to come down with.
Sure you're not coming down with a cold?
Yeah, I think I came down with the flu.
Peter's come down with something. Thinks he caught it from the rats.
Then we have the phrasal verb burn up. And when you're talking about sickness, burn up means that you're very hot. And typically this is because you have a fever. So perhaps somebody comes to you and they say, wow, I think I might have a fever. This is when you could put your hand on their forehead and feel it. And if it feels very hot, you would tell them, you'd say, wow, you're burning up. You definitely have a fever because you're burning up.
Holy crap.
Yeah, burning up.
Yeah.
You're burning up.
Got hotter places in my forehead.
Let's stick with the preposition up right now. And this next phrasal verb I think is very common. It's something that happens to all of us, and I don't think anybody likes it, and that is to throw up. And when someone throws up, it just means that they vomit. So if you go to the doctor and you want to tell them that you are sick and that you vomited, you could just say, yeah, last night I threw up. I don't know what's wrong. I definitely think I'm coming down with something. But if you throw up, then you just vomit. Another phrasal verb that is somewhat related, but it is definitely different, and that is cough up. And when you cough something up, it's talking about, well, liquid that may be in your lungs, and you're just coughing, and you might cough something up. So if you have a severe cold, I think it's quite possible that you would cough some of that stuff up in your lungs, and it's not a very pleasant feeling, and then you'd want to spit it out if you are coughing up something like mucus. If you are coughing up something like blood, then that may be very serious, and you would definitely want to go to the doctor and tell them, I'm coughing up blood. What do you think the problem is? Cough up.
I think I'm gonna cough up a fur ball.
Glad I've been coughing all day. I feel like I'm about to cough up a lung.
No, you should quit. That's bad for you.
Didn't you hear what I just said?
I saw you cough up blood.
Another phrasal verb with up is puff up. And this just means that you're describing something that is starting to swell or enlarge. And you could say that it is puffing up. Maybe if you are like me and you get bad allergies, then maybe your cheeks would start to puff up, or your eyes could puff up a little bit and they can start to swell. And this phrasal verb, I really do think if you have allergies and you have a reaction to something, there is a possibility that something will start to puff up. So if you want to describe it and say that something is swelling, it is enlarging, you could say that it's puffing up.
Negro little guy.
I'm not scared of him, but, it's an allergic thing. My whole face could puff up.
My ankles will swell, my eyes will puff up. I look just like the Pillsbury Doughboy.
Then we have another phrasal verb using the preposition up, and that is flare up. And if you say that something flares up or it is flaring up, then you're talking about a condition that has returned. And usually, if somebody has a condition, it may go away over time, but then it returns, it comes back. And you could then say, well, it's starting to flare up. And especially if it's noticeable, if you can see this, and maybe you're talking about your skin. You could say, well, something happens, I have this condition, and it's starting to flare up again, and perhaps you need to go to the doctor and get some medication because your condition, it's starting to flare up.
Honey, I thought you'd be ready.
Well, I think my symptoms are flaring up.
Yeah, but most of the time it won't even be an issue. It only really flares up during periods of great stress.
Would you rather me say, hey guys, my irritable bowel syndrome is flaring up?
The next phrasal verb is break out, and this just means to start suddenly. And often, I think, again, you probably would be referring to something that's going on with your skin that you can actually see. But maybe you don't know what it is, and you would go to the doctor and just tell them, like, look, I just started to break out. I don't know what's going on. I don't know how to describe it. I don't know what it is. It happened suddenly. I just started breaking out. And perhaps it could be an allergic reaction to something. Maybe it was something you ate, and then suddenly you just started breaking out. Next is actually, well, this is a good phrasal verb when you think about sickness, and that is fight off, because this is something that we all want to do. We want to fight off a cold, because we want to stay healthy. So to fight something off just means that you are trying to resist this disease, this illness, and you are fighting it off. Maybe you are eating really healthy, you're getting a lot of vitamin C, and because of that, you can say, well, I'm trying to fight something off. So I think most of the time people would use this phrasal verb if they are starting to feel a little sick. And that's when people kind of spring into action, and then they try to fight off the illness.
But why do you need the meds if you're not sick, huh?
To fight off the cold symptoms that my healthy body is exhibiting.
I can fight off whatever stupid illness this pizza may or may not have had, all right? I'm in perfect control of my body.
We use your brain to fight off rabies.
Then we have get over, which, well, this one too, this is another positive phrasal verb when you think about sickness, because when you get over something, it means that you have recovered from this illness or disease and you got over it. So when you get over something, then you are starting to feel healthy again because you have recovered from this sickness. And I think it's quite common to use this when talking about, well, a cold. And you could say, I was starting to come down with a cold, but I was really trying to fight it off. And I got a little sick, but because I was fighting it off, I got over it really quickly. And that is good news if you get over a cold or any illness for that matter.
Sheldon, you don't get over the flu in half an hour.
I'm just getting over a cold.
I finally got over my seasickness.
Next is the phrasal verb pass out. And if somebody passes out, then it just means that they lose consciousness. And there are many reasons why a person might pass out, but it could happen if you are severely sick and you have a really bad fever, your head is burning up, you can't fight it off any longer, and you're so tired and you might just pass out and you become unconscious. So to pass out is to become unconscious.
I got sick. I go outside, pass out.
I'm fine. I just pass out sometimes.
Did you not listen to my messages? I told you, I got locked in a storage room. I don't know, I got sick and passed out.
Then if we want to say the opposite of pass out, we can use, well, one of three phrasal verbs, come to, come around, or come round. And all of them, they mean the same thing. It just means to regain consciousness. So if you are really sick, you're burning up, and then you pass out, A little later on, you might come to and regain consciousness, and hopefully whatever sickness you have, you will get over it quickly. And as always, I will just try to continue using these phrasal verbs again and again because I think that will just help you better understand their meaning. Then we have put on, and this just means to receive some medical treatment, but I think there is more of a specific use because you would talk about it when you go to the doctor and they tell you, they say, okay, this is what you need to take. And then later on, you might tell somebody else, well, the doctor put me on this medication. The doctor put me on whatever it is they tell you that you need to take. So they would put you on some medication, and in that case, they are giving you medical treatment to put on.
But my doctor put me right on a new round of chemo, which is why I've been so tired lately.
Doctors put me on medication to stop the seizures.
Did they put you on medication?
Better. Medical marijuana. It's genius.
Now, I know sickness, it is a very serious topic, but I want to end it on a lighter note. So I could say that I hope that all of you learn some new phrasal verbs and that they may help you now or in the future if you have to go to the doctor and try to explain what's going on. If you enjoyed this lesson and you did learn something new, please hit that like button. And as always, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.